Um, my name is Kristjan, and I'm here to talk about Oracle. At the end of my presentation, I'd like to do a jam session with people here. So if you have a laptop with a microphone, most Macintosh books have that, and you could pull it out at some point in the presentation, it'd be great. So at the end, everyone here and the people in the other room can all try out Oracle and all jam together. So I'm just going to go into a quick presentation with some slides. It's a little bit more technical, but I figure that's probably what you guys like. All right, so Oracle is a voice-controlled audio, interactive audio on the internet. Basic idea is to try to make an instrument that everyone can play, and an interface that's based on knobs and sliders or based on piano keys can be a little bit intimidating for non-musicians or non-technical people to start using. But something like the human voice is very expressive, and everyone knows how to use it. We have an inherent ability to communicate with our voice, and everyone's got a wide range of pitches and timbres and can be expressive, can be happy or sad with their voice. I'd like to talk briefly about the people I work with and why they might be relevant to you. They're all quite talented and really put a lot of ideas into this project. Max Newhouse is a sound artist who's been making installations for 30 years. He has a piece in Times Square, so if you are interested in doing sound installations, you've heard of him or you should check out his work. Phil Burke wrote the JSON plugin that we use, and also TransJam, which is a system for interactive audio on the web for multi-user audio. Saka Ramakrishnan has a website off the Oracle webpage, and he wrote the OSC package for Java. So if you're interested in doing OSC with Java, you can get the Java file from his website, and then you can interact Java with Super Collider or Max or whatever the program you use. I'm Kristjan. Jason is a composer who's studying in New York, and he wrote a piece with kind of a Napster-like client that would download different songs off peer-to-peer programs based on a certain keyword and mix them all together. And David Birchfield has done a lot of work with ArtBots and also with genetic algorithms. So this is, we wanted Oracle to really be something that the lay public could use. So that's why we settled on the human voice. And we also wanted it to be easy to install. We felt that it was asking too much for people to kind of have them download a program and install it and maybe restart their computer. So we decided to use Java applets and have it run within a web browser. So you just need to go to the website and you hit begin or play, and that's it. And then they'll give you instructions to start Oracle and also to install JSON if you don't have the JSON plugin installed. Oracle it's not quite a composition, it's not a piece, it's an architecture. It's something that's going to be on the web. It's going to try to constantly evolve to keep up with the web technologies. I mean, when Max designed this project, he had an idea of something that could last 50 years, where it'd slowly be ported to new technologies as they came out. And right now we feel that using Java applets is the best way to go, and in the future, if there's a better one to use, maybe cell phones or Java on cell phones, we might switch to that. It's kind of sophisticated. It's based on some physical models and some high math for the analysis, and it's all a real-time collaborative environment, and so you can just log in, you can play it together with whoever else is online. These are just some of our key goals, which I've kind of covered briefly. Accessibility, everyone can use it. Transparency, complexity, and self-evolution too. There's parts of the system that analyze the sounds coming in, and then they actually store the data from each session on the server, and then the next person who logs in kind of will pull the data, the program pulls the data off the server from previous sessions, and it uses that information to still control the instrument, so it's always using some of its history within its analysis, and this is an ongoing process. So if you come back to Oracle in a month after using it, it should still be recognizable at Oracle, but the sounds will be a little bit different than they were before. This is our architecture. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this slide and then talk briefly about each of the components here. Actually, I'm just going to talk about this slide here. Basically, you make sound into the microphone, and there's this low-level analyzer which performs LPC analysis to figure out the first formants of your voice, whether you're making a ah sound or an e sound or a sh sound, so it can separate voiced and unvoiced. It tracks pitch and it tracks amplitude. From that, we extract some statistical parameters, what the maximum frequency was, what the minimum frequency, how much variability there was in your frequency, so if you were wavering around a lot or just going on a steady tone. And then we also reduced the data from your input into simpler envelopes, so we try to take whatever you're doing, which could be something up to, I think, 100 milliseconds, and then we change each of those into envelopes with just 20 points, so when we send the data over the internet, it's a lot smaller. It's a lot smaller than compressed audio. And from that, the data is kind of mapped using a system a little bit like JMSL, where there's individual components that look at one part of the data and they control one part of the synthesizer. And so this is a way to control the synthesizer, which is based on some of Perry Cook's ideas about physical modeling, where it has a complex impulse source, then a string, a resonator, and then also some filters to kind of simulate the body of the instrument, and these are always growing and changing with response to what the user can do. I'm going to skip the rest of these and just go right to the applet. So this is our website, Oracle.org, and if you have a laptop now, it'd be great too. Or if people in the other room have a laptop and they could go to Oracle.org and launch the program, it'd be great. I also set up the public terminals in the other room with the JSON plugin, so if you want to try this out, you can go to the other room and just go to Oracle.org. You click begin, and it starts up. It asks permission to turn on your microphone, and then you enter your name. And so this is what Oracle looks like here. It's an ensemble, a collection of different people all playing together. And so there's Red Frick, is here. Jason is in Germany. You can see on the map here at the top, it's where everyone's located right now. Most of us are in Denmark. If you guys could also try to join in. And so to activate Oracle, you just hit play and it kind of turns on your microphone. So hold on. Or you could also do something that's maybe more like a breakbeat. And if you want to, this is interactive. Jason has heard me and he's kind of joined in. Ooh. And so, yeah, it's quite, there's also a chat message here. So you can say hi to the other people. If you want, you can make your own room and call it ensemble here. And I don't know, yesterday we had to talk, I want my mummy, so we can call this room Mummy Waters. And now, it's not very popular. Most people are in this room waiting, so I'm in my own room here, which gives me a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about the sounds. So it's quite responsive to pitch and amplitude, really. So, ooh, ooh. And now let's see, someone else is joining later. And then, if I want, I can go back to the group of the other people and see right now I'm all by myself in Denmark, and then I can have some friends again in a second. And so now I'm back in the room. Douglas has joined us now too. So there's some sounds that are a little bit noisy here. I'm actually clipping my audio a little bit. Let me turn that down.
It's all contained now.
Internally clipping.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I'm at 2. More people are going here. You son, I'm not sure who that is. Ooh. Ooh. So one thing too, that's we're still trying to make it more clear, is that you can either hold down the button to turn on your microphone, and then you can make input. And there's also this hands-free mode, which is more appropriate for feedback, so your laptop is always on, and it's just taking the sounds of the room and putting them back in. So, definitely, you can definitely feed it back. And oh, I left your room. I can go back to your room, so you can hear what Douglas is inputting now. So everyone connected all hears the same thing. So what's coming out of my computer will be the same thing that's coming out of Douglas's computer, which is the same thing coming out of everyone else in this room. So I can see Douglas is on hands-free mode. Oh, or looks like Douglas got kicked out of the system here.
Oh, I must have lost my wireless.
So Douglas is gone, but we're still strong here with 6 people. And
there's an exception.
There's an exception. Okay, maybe you could show me this. And also, one of the things that we put into the code development is that every time there's an exception, it gets sent to a central server. So we have a whole database of all our exceptions, so we can see how often they're coming in and see which ones are coming often, and see which ones come after certain changes in the code repository.
Has that destroyed your hard drive?
Yeah.
Interesting. Were you able to get on there?
Sorry?
Did you get on to Oracle?
Yeah, I'm on.
You're on to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ah, all right. So. Oh. Ooh. I'm a little slow here. We're still optimizing the code, so I'm going to switch to this other room with fewer people. Yeah, it should go. So now I'm in a room with just 2 people, so there's less audio going on, so it should be a little bit easier to control. We are working on streamlining the synthesis algorithm to make it more efficient. And so right now I'm with Jason, and Jason is in Stuttgart, Germany. And one of the things about the sounds is we try to design the sound so that you can hear yourself in the ensemble, so that if multiple people are playing, you don't get lost in the noise, but you can really pick up which sound is yours. Huh, so someone else. Oh, came briefly and then they left. Oh. Okay. Well, I really would just encourage you to try this out. It's running on the other computers. It runs more smoothly on the Emacs than on the iMacs. The iMacs are just a little slower and they have a little bit less memory in them, but all the computers here have a little dot to help out with the audio input. If you run into any problems, you can always hit that help button here, and it helps with your various problems. I know for me, I don't know how to use the Mac system panel, so I can click on Mac Audio Help, and it tells me how to turn on the microphone and how to change the volume of the sound too if it's hard to hear. Also, I'd like to say that we try to have weekly meetings, because it's hard to get people to be on the system with someone else, where you can have 10 or 20 people on the day, but if they're each out for 5 or 10 minutes, they're not really going to interact with each other. So we set up some meeting times twice a week where we encourage people to come during these times instead. You can always use it, but we prefer that if you're in, I think we're in Berlin time here, that you'd want to come Tuesdays at 8 p.m. or Wednesdays at 4 a.m. So we try to set some times where there's one that's going to be convenient for you in your part of the world, and there's one part where if you're an insomniac, it's also good for you too. And there's also contact us if you have any questions or if you have any problems. Please let us know, or please let me know when I'm here too. I'm going to talk with Douglas and try to, hopefully he can maybe briefly explain what happened, or if you have any problems setting up Oracle. We're still working on it. Our official launch will be in October at Donau-Eschingen in Germany. There's a concert there that we'll be performing with some other people. And so right now we're still developing the sounds and streamlining the interface, and just trying to make it easier to use, make it more fun to use, and increase the range of sounds. Okay, now it's questions. Are there any questions?
was your part in the development of it?
My part was, I worked a lot on the mapping and on the synthesis. There's a lot of time during this project. We're probably using about 5 or 10% of the code that we write is will actually be on the website. There's just a lot of time spent designing different instruments and designing different ways of mapping your input to output. And there's a lot of experimentation. We wrote a separate application to swap up different synthesizers with different mapping algorithms so you can kind of mix and match. Some GUI tools with sliders so you can kind of customize the sound and see what worked. So that's where I spent most of my efforts was on that. But it really doesn't feel like I own any part of the project. It feels like the project just kind of came from us. You know, there's so many, in the synthesizer right now, there's so many different ideas that everyone put into there that there's really no ownership of it. You know, I mean, I can think of the ideas I put in, and I can think of a million ideas that Jason put in, that Shekhar put in, that Phil put in, that Max put in, and David also contributed a lot of ideas too. So it doesn't really feel like it's fair to say someone owns this part or owns this part. It really is a collaborative project. And that's something I feel really good about, is that after a year, I feel like this just kind of came from our collective efforts, not that it came from a bunch of individual people.
What does Max think of where it's gone?
Max always wants more, you know, and he'll never be happy until it's done, and it's made it for a very tough year during the year, but I think when I look back, I think it's almost what I prefer, is to have someone who's really kind of kicking your butt and really pushing you and really challenging you for the whole year. So it makes it very tough, but at the same time, you can never really finish something one day and say, "Ha, look what I did." You know, you're always kind of saying, "Ah, look what I did, but how can I make this better?" And I think that's really kind of helped the project grow and grow and grow. Yes?
It's a great project, and I have two questions. Is this the input only mono?
Yeah, the input is only mono.
But you got also the output signal is also mono?
The output is stereo, actually.
But why is stereo?
Okay. Right now we don't. Right now we just do a little bit of stereo just to add some more width. But in the future, we've been playing with the idea of making it so that your voice is going to be panned in the center, and then the other instruments will kind of be panned further in different parts of the sound space. So it helps clarity. It helps you find your own voice, and it also helps provide a sense of space.
Just one more thing to ask. What about the latency time? For example, when you perform with other people, it's you have to listen to them to be able to respond to them in the same time. What about the latency now? If I want to jam with someone else who has some 5-second latency time, am I able to synchronize it with something?
Sure. Yeah, I think the key phrase that you said during your question is that you have to listen. And Oracle, at first we tried to make it as fast as we could on the response, and sometimes you'd be making a gesture, making a sound, and then the audio would start triggering in before you even finished your gesture, because it was trying to go as fast as possible. And so we switched to a conversational style where you make a gesture, and then once you finish the gesture, then it all gets sent to a central server, and then everyone receives it back at about the same time. I mean, granted, there are going to be differences in latency, but I think it still works out depending on what your latency is, where it still is this conversational sound where you make a sound and you can hear the sound that you made back. You can definitely relate to which sound is yours. And you can also start to relate which sounds are other people's, and then you start listening and you start trying to figure out how did they make that sound, or what sound should I make next. So I really don't think the latency is a problem at all. I really actually enjoy the conversational style the more I work with it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
And I have 10 seconds left. I'd just like to thank the organizers for putting this all together, and also for letting me switch time this morning. It's been an amazing conference, and you guys have been great, so thanks.